Hi everybody. So a member asked me if I could add a video showing how I do the church because I left that out of the main tutorial just to make it shorter, but maybe it's a good idea to show you how I deal with this kind of image. As I told you in the video, this image has kind of like a tilted perspective. Let's say there are two vanishing points on each side, and I don't want to paint it like that. I don't want, like this kind of image. I took it with my phone, and in the end, phones always kind of distort the image a little bit. It's never. I will never paint something on site the same way as it looks in a picture. If I were on site, I will make my life easier just by choosing a front, let's say a front side, and painting it using just horizontal and vertical lines, and then I will just use the left side to make this kind of perspective. But I don't like like replicating exactly what I see in photos, because photos distort reality a lot, and I just want to give it a different look, a different approach. I want this to look like a portrait. Let's say, like if I'm doing a classic portrait of a person, for example, and these classical portraits where the person is kind of like looking at you at the front, but slightly like they're just looking slightly away from the viewer, but not in a their face is mostly kind of flat, let's say. So I want to do it in kind of this way. I want to treat this as if I were doing a person portrait, but we're just gonna make the portrait of a building, let's say. So I'm gonna go straight to the drawing, okay? I'm going to be fast here. I don't want to spend too much time doing this. I'm always kind of fast when doing in a drawing phase, because I don't want to, lose much time. So basically, I'm just gonna do the basic structure of this, and then I will add details to it, okay? And I always try to break down complex buildings like this one into smaller pieces, just to make my life easier, let's say. So it's like I'm drawing a skeleton that will get more information, but slowly. if you see what I'm doing, I'm always trying to make kind of like bold moves, let's say. I try to make every gesture, I try to be fast, so that let's say I keep this sketch alive. The goal here is not to not trying to build everything perfectly, but just laying out the basic structure of what we're going to paint. Now we have to go for the dome, which is the most let's say delicate part. If this doesn't look right, you will immediately notice, let's say. And we could draw a line from here to here, just to know that the center here is not exactly on the same place as the center here. So when I go up, I need to consider that. And then from here and from here, these curves, they kind of go up and then they slowly go towards this to meet this narrower top of this volume, let's say. Same here, they go up and then they slowly come here. Same here, they go up, and we could also go finish defining the basic structure of this top. They go up and then they meet. Same here, it goes more or less up and then kind of meets there. And there's a small gap here that we also see. So this is more or less it. And then up here, go like this, and then like that. There's a small portion of the dome that you see on this side, but it doesn't go that far. And here we have these little things, and I'm just gonna leave them here, because later when you go with the painting over these little details, you need to have them here so you avoid going with the paint on top of those. So I don't define each little thing, but I know that here there's a highlight, so I want it on the paper. I'm not going to paint the whole I'm not going to draw the whole railing. Yeah, I don't really need to do that. I will do that later with a watercolor. So, but I just want to have the basic structure of everything that is going on here so that we don't miss it afterwards. So these are just basic lines. And again, I'm doing everything that is in front of me. I'm doing it with just straight horizontal and vertical lines. I am only using one vanishing point, and which is not really even a vanishing point because I'm doing all these lines kind of parallel. I'm treating this like an architectural drawing, you know, like one architects do. I'm an architect as well, so I really, you know, like doing this kind of. It's more like a perspective, let's say, rather than a. How do you call it? Perspective. We call it in Spanish perspectiva caballera. It's a typical representation that architects do of their buildings, doing only, you know, like working with parallel lines. So I like treating this like this because it kind of feels like an old representation of this building. Right. Now I'm constructing these little things here. I'm not gonna define them as, I just want to have them here. Alright, so now we know. This kind of does like this. I am constructing a structure, the skeleton of what is gonna be the watercolor afterwards, right? So that's why I don't worry too much about having every detail in place, you know, but just having every structural line that I need in order to be able to properly paint this afterwards. If I don't do this quickly, if I don't go fast with this, then I will stop in many little things that are not really important, and I will use a lot of time making this drawing, and also it will kind of lose freshness afterwards, right? So just keep that in mind. Try to be as not fast, you know, just let's say light paced, or you know, like be economical with the amount of time that you put in your paintings. Well, not in your paintings, in your drawings. I mean, drawings are important in architectural buildings, but watercolors, but not that important in the sense that you will get a lot of if you work this properly, if you are able to work this out later, focusing on the shadows instead of the lines, then you don't really need to put too much detail now. You will be able to suggest many details afterwards just by using the your watercolor in the right way, just by when you're painting this, leaving space for little details here and there, not going with your brush all over the place, but kind of avoiding painting everywhere in order to leave certain details, using the white of the paper in order to preserve many information that you don't necessarily need to put with your drawing. And as you will see in the watercolor afterwards, so the video that I already uploaded, many things I left unpainted. Many things I don't go too crazy. This thing here, you can see that I just painted a small shadow showing that. Immediately your brain connects the dots and knows that there's a statue here, that there's something there. I didn't do every little thing. I didn't do all the details everywhere. I just painted, leaving gaps and putting information where I needed to be. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly. Sorry about that. It's sometimes difficult for me to know what I'm saying while I'm drawing, or I'm so focused on what I'm doing that I get lost in words. All right, but this is mostly done. Okay, like we don't really need to do too much more. I'm just gonna have this more or less here, just like this. And I'm not gonna draw this because I don't need to paint that. You know, for me the main actor of this church is the dome. Is the place where more details are incorporated. You see, and the rest is more or less unpainted. I just want to have it there, so in order to give a context to this dome, but I don't need to paint everything. I just need a context. But this is my main character. Let's say the rest is kind of, it's there, but it's kind of unpainted. We didn't give too much information here. We didn't give too much information here, but it's giving context to the dome. And what makes this painting work is that there's a nice balance between lit areas, shadow areas, there's texture, there are highlights, there are soft edges, there are hard edges, there's a little bit of everything, all of it in balance, just giving focus to this area, which is the one that I'm more interested in. And then here we could just keep a little bit more information, but just so later when we work with the watercolor, we know where to paint and where not. We know that this has to be white, but there's these little spikes here that I just want to show the back in the shadows side of them. So I just need to have in place more or less where they are, so that later when I go with the brush, I avoid I only paint on them, and I avoid painting on this area here, which is going to be completely white. Maybe here I will also add these little things. And this is more or less it. We don't really need to put much more information. I'm just gonna make this this little spike over there. And as you can see here, this is larger than this. So I just need to bear in mind that when I go with the vertical lines up here, I don't have to go exactly where these corners are. I need to go just smaller. So this will be more or less here, and this will be more or less here. You see that if we go with this line here, it's more or less should be kind of there. So we could draw a line like a section going all over the dome and slice it in 2 equal halves, and I just keep that in mind. So when I go with this, I forgot to put this. This has to be just like it has to be. Here. All right. This is more or less done. I just add like a few information here. Here. So this little thing that I'm doing here, it's important to keep that because there's a highlight here. And if I want to show that, I need to have it here so that later when I go with the brush, I avoid painting on this little detail here. Just so you know, I'm more worried about keeping the outline of everything which is separating light and shadow than having every detail here. So the most important things here is to keep all those spaces of contrast, let's say, is what worries me the most. And one thing, you see that is what I was telling you now. I'm just drawing these little things because they need to be preserved using the white of the paper later, because these are important highlights. What I was saying, I forgot. Well, I'm just gonna finish this. We're mostly done. Well, yes. The way I'm drawing, I'm using this just as a reference, because in the end I'm constructing a new drawing. I'm just using this information in order to build my own drawing, because I changed the perspective. So I just need to focus on making this drawing work, not that I'm making a drawing which is exactly the same as what I have here. In the end, this is kind of liberating, because if I try to replicate this picture, I might make mistakes. I might just not get the vanishing point right. I might get, you know, like if I just go like trying to go exactly as this image is, I'm more prone to make mistakes rather than if I construct the drawing myself. While constructing the drawing yourself, you can make many decisions that will make this more personal to you, let's say. I think that's it. I will probably just leave just an indication on when this of where these human figures are. You know, these statues. There are many statues here on top, so I just can leave an indication on where they are. We will paint them later. And one thing, since I changed the perspective, now these statues are not exactly in the same position in relation to the dome, because I changed the perspective. Everything that I see here, it's slightly different than what it is in the picture, but I don't care. I just need to know that this statue is exactly on this corner, and when I paint it later, when I paint whatever it's behind it, I just need to be careful to go around it so that we can preserve the highlights that this statue has. And this other statue is right here. There's this kind of like fragmentation of this plane, and the statue is right on top of it. So I'm just gonna just leave it here like this. So that we later paint around it. There's another one here. And that's it. We could start painting already this painting. And just to sum up, we have drawn this, focusing mostly on defining well the architectural skeleton of this building. We don't care if we're not super loyal to the image. We are building this our own. We're making it our own kind of depiction of this picture, and for that, if you make a decision like the one that I did about making your life easier, you know, making everything that it's facing us vertical and horizontal lines, then you can create a drawing which is more personal to you, which has a kind of like a dignity into it, and all that without getting your life too complicated. I hope that this helped, and see you on the next video.